setting training series. Today I'm gonna go over pretty much A to Z, one of the big keys and things I work with when it comes with setters. All right, and we're gonna pretty much start from the beginning. The first thing I wanna really make sure my setters know is entry footwork, right? Especially out of serve receive and after we block, what do we wanna do? What does it look like? So we're gonna go from the beginning, in rotation one. So rotation one, for setters, we're back here. There's a from row outside. We gotta make sure that we're behind the outside. Too many setters like to go a little too quick, so we gotta make sure the second that server makes contact with the ball, that's when we wanna go over, right? For all our footwork patterns right now, for entry footwork, we always wanna start with our left foot forward. 5 steps. First step is always with your right foot. So it's 1, 2, 3, we cross over 4 and 5, and we turn. So it's really important. We have clean, efficient footwork patterns out of serve receive, and we want to turn and face the passer, right? If the passer is in 1, we're here, 6 or 5, we want to be facing the action, all right? For rotation 3, right? Again, we're starting here in the middle. There's a backer outside, right at middle back. We have, again, starting with our left foot forward. The footwork is 4 steps, right? So it's right foot, 1, 2, we cross over, and 4, right? So we want to do this crossover footwork so we can be seeing what's going on with the passers. The biggest mistake I always see setters do when they're in row 3 is they do this big circle, right? So it looks like this, right? So they go 1, 2, and then they spin, and they turn around. We don't know what's going on. So we want to do a crossover step. So again, right, left foot forward, 4 steps, 1, 2, and then we cross over, and then we turn, all right? And we're watching and facing the action. Row 4, we're all the way here in the corner. It's the same footwork we want to do in row 3, right? So again, left foot forward, 4 steps, always first step with your right foot, 1, 2, cross over, 3, and then we're back here, right? So 3 and 4, same footwork. 1, we're taking 5 steps, all right? So for rotation 2, 5, and 6, it's really easy. You're already chilling at the net. You're already exactly where you need to be. There's really no footwork really necessary. You're already exactly where you need to be. So after we talk about setter entry footwork, we got to talk about going to the net and how we want to get to the net. So setters, don't just blindly run to the net, right? One of the key things that setters need to be able to do is while they're going to the net, they need to be watching the serve and they need to be watching the passer as they get to the net, because the passer is going to give you a ton of information, right? How's their platform look, right? Are they leaning back? Are they leaning forward? Is their angle facing this way? Is it facing the other way? The earlier we can get our eyes onto the passer, the better we're gonna have at what type of pass it's gonna be. The earlier we can get our eyes there and seeing, hey, what's gonna happen, the much quicker we're gonna be coming off the net and to the pass. Prep work. So once we get to the net, we like to call this the pocket, right? So if you watch football, they call it the quarterback pocket. We have the same thing in volleyball, right? The pocket is in zone 2, right? One of the biggest mistakes I see setters do is they go all the way to zone 3 into the middle of the court when they get to that. This is a really tough spot to set, right? Because it's gonna cause a lot of the setters to have to move backwards to the pass. Setters are most successful with a pass that lets them move forward. Hear that again. Setters are more successful setting a better ball with a pass that lets them move forward. So as a setter, you want to position yourself in a place that allows that to happen. And that's why we want to be in zone 2. Because once we're in zone 2, now all the passes, the majority of the passes are going to be passes where we have to run forward to the ball. And that's going to really prevent our setters from backpedaling to try to set to a ball. All setters know it is way harder to set a ball that makes them move backwards, right? If they have to move backwards on their heels, they're going to be in trouble, right? So 1, where do we want to go? in the pocket. The pocket is zone 2. Remember, the passing target and where the setter sets up are 2 different locations. We don't want to just jump exactly where that passing target is. We want to be a little behind it in zone 2, so we're moving into the pass. So once we're at the net, our setup, our prep, right? What does that look like? We want to have our knees bent, our elbows bent, and our hands shape the ball. We want to be in an athletic position because we know the pass isn't always going to be great. We want to be ready to move in any direction, and we want to be able to move quickly. So we don't want to just get to the net, arms down, legs locked, just chilling, right? No, we want to get to the net, turn, face your passer, elbows bent, knees bent, hands shaped like the ball, and we're looking at our passers, and we want to be ready to move and be dynamic. So that is our entry footwork and prep work, right? Once a setter feels really comfortable with these kind of footwork patterns and what are we looking for about where do we start, what we want our arms to look like, what do we want to look like at the net, we want to look ready, we need to work on our footwork, right? So we worked on footwork going to the net. Now we're going to work on footwork going to the ball, right? So there's 2 main footworks I work with setters, right? The first one is jump setting off 2 or regular stand setting off 2, right? It goes into both. So when we're talking about that, we want to get both feet under the ball and we want to get square to the outside, right? So a really simple footwork pattern I love to use that I learned from a good friend of mine who was an All-American setter at Penn State is the off 2 footwork pattern, right? So we want to take a step to the ball, we hop to get squared, right? So both my toes are facing to the outside, and then we set from here. Whether it's a jump set or we just step into a set, we want to be prepped. And we use that hop to make us get squared, right? So whether it's your right foot, hop and set, or we go left foot, hop and set. We use the hop to help us get squared, right? Another added benefit of using the hop is rhythm. So volleyball is a very rhythmic sport. We want to use that rhythm to help us build consistency. So a really easy footwork pattern that I like to teach, or a little exercise that you can do at home, is this, the set and catch. You're going to have a ball, right? We're going to go diagonal. So you're going to take a step with your right foot, hop. Step with your right foot towards the corner, hop. We're going to add the ball, right? So you're going to toss, step, catch, right? And we want to get both feet under the ball. We don't want to be catching it too far in front of us. We don't want to catch it behind us. We want to work on getting both feet directly under the ball. It's going to be huge for jump setting because when we jump set, remember, we want to jump vertical to the ball, not horizontal. So you're going to keep on doing this all the way. And then there's a rhythm to it. Step, hop, right? Step, hop. And you're going to do this all the way down, all the way back. But remember, we also got to be good with our left foot. So we want to do the same thing with our left foot. We want to be good going off our left and our right. So it's the same thing. Left foot, hop. Left foot, hop. Left foot, I get square. I finish my hop with my right foot forward. So with the toss, step, hop. Step, hop with our left foot. Step, hop, right? And we want to go all the way down, all the way back. Once you're comfortable with the step and hop, we got to make it a little bit harder. Continuous setting. So we're going to keep on working on that rhythm. We're going to keep on working on that footwork, right? So continuous setting, right foot, right? So step, hop, set. Step, hop, set. Step, hop, set. Step, hop, set. And then we're doing that all the way down. And then we're working on that rhythm. You do that all the way down, all the way back. Same thing with your left foot, right? We want to be able to go left foot hop, left foot hop, left foot hop with that right foot forward, right? We need to, again, volleyball can be a little weird. We got to be really good, whether it's our left foot or our right foot. So how's that translate, right? Then we start to build that rhythm, right? So we go left foot, and then we set, right? And it's that rhythm that's super key, right? So we need to go and we keep on going. So left foot hop, right? Left foot, we get squared. Or we go right foot, get squared. Same thing with our right foot, right? Right foot gets squared, we jump and set. Or we do right foot, we get squared, and we just stand set. Whatever level you're at, it doesn't matter, this footwork applies. Even if it's off the net, we want to do the same thing, all right? We run, 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 we step, get squared, and we set, right? And it's always that rhythm, right? We don't want to get to the ball and just wait, then set, right? That's going to really disrupt our rhythm, and it's going to be really tough to get that consistency. So rhythm is huge when we're talking about setting off two, right? So it's run, 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 run off the net. It could be right foot. I use that hop to get squared. I jump and I set. Keys of jump setting. We got to make sure you get under the ball so you can jump vertical. If the pass is over there, we're going to end up sideways jumping, and it's going to be really hard to be consistent with our footwork. All right? So we went over the catching, right? Left foot hop and right foot hop. Then we made it a little bit harder by adding the continuous setting. This is something you can do at home right now, right? To work on your footwork to get consistent. Remember, the hop is to help us get squared, right? Because we know as setters, it's much easier to set a ball when you're jumping and going straight, as opposed to if you have to jump, rotate, and set all together, right? So if we can get our feet to the ball, let's get squared early. Squared means our feet are pointed to the outside before you jump. So once setters are comfortable to two, now we're gonna go off pivot setting or setting off one foot. Right? I love this footwork. I teach it to all my athletes. I teach all my setters both types of footwork because it's really important to understand when to use one and when to use the other. Pivot setting, we want to set off our lead leg. For the most part, it's going to be our right foot, right? So right foot setting, right? We want to make sure we get our right foot directly under the ball and we plant. So see, my right toe is pointed to the target. Right? So I plant, I turn my right foot, and then as I go up, I pivot to set. So we're here, I cross over, my right foot is directly under the ball, and then as I'm rotating, I get squared, and then I set, right? So let's take a look at what that looks like, right? We're here, I cross over, I plant, and I set. You can also do that with a jump. Right? If you're ready, you feel confident to do it with a jump, you can do the same thing. I cross over, I jump, and I set. Basic footwork, at the net, left, cross over with your right foot, jump. Same thing off the net, right? So we run, 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 run. We cross over our left foot, I plant. Again, the key part of this is the plant, right? If my right toe is facing, my hips are naturally gonna come around and I'm gonna get squared. If I plant and my right foot, my right toe is pointed to zone 5, it's gonna be much tougher for me and my hips to come all the way around. So it's really important we plant, bam, with our, as much as you can, get your right toe pointed to the outside, we rotate and we set. Again, whether it's jumping off 2 or jumping off 1 foot, we need to get whatever, it's either it's 2 or 1, we need to jump vertical. To do that, we gotta make sure we can see where the ball is going. So that means we need to see the pass, plan out our steps, and predict and see, hey, where's that ball gonna land? And wherever it is, that's where my foot goes. And so I can jump vertical to the ball, and it's above my head, it's not in front of me, and it's not behind me. So we gotta do a really good job. Pivot setting, absolutely important if you're on the move. If you have to run to go get the ball, I love using pivot setting because you can run and still be in stride, right? So you can still be in stride while setting, which happens, right? Sometimes the pass isn't gonna be great, and sometimes you're not gonna have enough time to step and plant both feet. So you gotta be ready to be on the run. right? So pivot setting, I think, is a great advantage if you have to move and you're in stride and you have to pivot, right? Because you're just already on the run. Again, the key for pivot setting is the plant. Turning that right foot as much as you can to pivot and come around. Let's talk about back setting, all right? So this is for forward setting. We're talking about back setting now. So when we're back setting, let's go back to on 2. The footwork is still the same. We're in rhythm, we get squared, right? This is key for when we want to back set. Because if our back is pointed to the net when we back set and we didn't get squared, guess where that ball's going? It's going over the net, it's going to the other side. That's just an easy point for the other side. So for my young setters who want to learn how to back set, number 1 is you got to learn how to front set. Because if you learn how to get squared, guess what? You're going to be lined up for the back set. So we still do the same footwork inside the 10-foot line. We get squared, and then we go straight over our head for the back set. Again, we got to be under it. Off the net, what I like to do when I like to teach, all right, I want us to still get squared off 2, right? Where we step, we hop, and we're squared to the outside. But instead, we want to tilt our upper body slightly to our right shoulder, and we want to side set for the back set, right? So why do we want to do this? So young setters, when they're learning to back set off the net, they do the same thing always. They set up with both feet pointed to zone 5, and they do this, they back set. When you're learning, that's okay. But if you want to be elite, if you want to get better, right, you got to learn to get squared even off the net when you back set. Why is that important? Because if you just back set with your back already pointed like this, guess what that's telling the other side? Oh, this girl's about to back set. It's really freaking obvious. It's about to happen, right? So we want to be deceptive. We don't want to give away too early what we're doing. So how do we do that? No matter where the pass is, we get squared, right? Always to the outside. And then we work on that tilt and that side set. So a fun fact, if you do a really great job getting squared, if you take geometry, you know what a 90-degree angle is. If you don't, Google it, 90-degree angle, you'll figure it out. So if my right toe is pointed to the target, to the outside, I make a 90-degree angle with my body and my right shoulder. So my right shoulder is going to be perfectly in line to where my back set is going to be, right? So if I just set straight over my right shoulder, guess where that ball's going to go? It's going to go exactly where your target is on the back set, right? So whether it's off 2, we get squared on or off the net. Pivoting is a little bit different. So one of the advantages of pivoting is the actual rotation of the movement, right? So if I'm setting off 1, and if I want to set a big distance, right, we know from hitting that rotation equals power, that my ability to rotate, to hit a ball is going to add power. For pivoting, it's the exact same thing, right? I can use the rotation to help me push that ball, really use that rotation to get around it, right? And use that momentum to help me set big distances. And we want to do the same thing for back setting, right? So there's 2 versions I teach, half turn and full turn. So when we're at the net, the pass is great. It's not a big distance. When we pivot, we want to just do a little half turn. So that means we step, we pivot, and we finish facing the net, right? So we don't need a full rotation. It's not a big distance. So, right, we over-exaggerate your plant a little bit to help you get around. When you jump set, you're facing the net and you go over your right shoulder. That's a key difference between jumping off 2 feet and jumping off 1 foot, right? Off 2, you're going straight over your head. When we're pivot setting, back setting, we're going over that right shoulder. The advantage of going over that right shoulder, it's much easier to get a much flatter trajectory on that ball, especially if you want to go fast, as opposed to when you're going over your head, your extension is more going vertical, right? So it's a little tougher to flick it back to get a flatter trajectory. But with the pivot setting, we're allowed to go over that right shoulder, right? Which is going to allow us to get a much flatter trajectory and speed it up, right? So again, going back, half turn, right? So we're at the net, we don't got it, it's not a big distance, right? It's a good pass, we go a little half turn, right? And we pivot. Whether you jump or you don't jump, it's okay, I can still pivot, right? Even there. Now, when we're talking about big distances, right? So we're talking about passes going into zone 4 or off the net. We want to do a full turn, all right? To really maximize the advantage of using that rotation. So a full turn, we're here, we plant, we finish all the way around until both feet are pointed to the back set, to zone 4, right? So it looks like this, we're here, we plant, we pivot, and we use that full rotation to help us. Same thing when we're going to zone 4, we're running, and I use that rotation where I finish facing my target, right? Same thing with the back set. Again, the advantage of the pivot setting is that you have the rotation to allow you to get all the way around the ball. So we're here, right? We go all the way around and we finish, right? We want to land with both feet to our target. So, full work patterns, getting to the ball, right? We want to plan out our steps. We just don't want to blindly run to the ball. We need to see exactly, hey, where is that ball going? Before you know where it's going, you got to wait, right? There is such thing as getting to the ball early, where you get there too early and you got to go back. You're just wasting time. Be patient, plan out your steps, and then you do your footwork, right? It's got to be instinctual, right? That's why we work on both. Some setters are going to feel more comfortable pivot setting. Some are going to be more comfortable doing 2. That's perfectly fine. You got to know how to do 2. You got to know how to do both, right? There's advantages and disadvantages to each one, right? Some coaches are going to want you only do 2. Cool, you know how to do that. Some coaches want you only pivot set everything. Cool, you know how to do that. So it doesn't matter what coach you go to. If they say, hey, I want this or I want that, great. Just like how I teach hitters how to hit line, how to hit cross court, how to tip, right? But when it's game time and it's that instantaneous moment and they got to make a decision about, hey, do I hit line, do I hit angle? You know, the coach isn't just yelling there and they're, you know, whispering in their ear, hey, hit line right now. Hey, no, it's up to the hitter to have that creativity, the freedom to make the decision, should I tip, should I hit? Same thing with our setters. I give my setters the freedom to make the decision, whatever footwork they feel comfortable, whatever comes out during the game. So it's really important you get comfortable with 2, because you're going to get good at one. You might feel even better with the other. It's really important to learn both. So we're talking about back setting footwork, right? Whether it's a pivot or it's off 2, right? If you don't feel comfortable, you can do either one of these footworks standing. But as you develop, you want to add that jump set, right? You want to be able to be vertical, jump setting straight up and down to be aggressive to the ball. All right, so we talked about entry footwork, right? How do we get to the net? What's the footwork pattern? What do we want to do when we get to the net? We want to get prepped, elbows bent, knees bent, right? We want to be looking at the passer's platform as we're getting to the net. And then we talked about getting to the ball, right? There's 2 primary footwork patterns that I currently teach. I might learn some new ones, start teaching it more to my setters, but off 2 and pivoting, right? Each one has their own advantages depending on the certain situation. I think if you can get there, your feet to the ball, it's not too far away, it's great to go off 2. I think if you have to be on the move and you're running, pivoting is a great tool to have. So you gotta learn both. All right, so the last thing we're gonna talk about in this setter training series is we're gonna talk about our hands. I'm sure a bunch of you have been wondering, like, man, he's been talking a lot about our feet. We're talking about setting. Don't worry, we're here, we got here. We're talking about hands now. So what do we want to do when we're talking about hands? So first thing first, when teaching setters, right? How do we want our hands to look? We want our hands in the shape of the ball, right? And we want to make sure our elbows are, our thumbs are a little back. So how do we get to that? So we want to make sure we're here. You put your hands on your waist. You're going to have creases right here, right? You want to maintain those creases and you want to get those hands in front of you. That's what's going to allow your thumbs to be back and in a position where we want to set. Hands shaped like the ball, super spread out. All right? So when we're setting, right, we want to start with our elbows bent. We want our hands to start and finish the same. We want a big open hand finish. We want to finish with our fingertips up. Right? One of the big comments we see when setters, there's a lot of spin on the ball. Most of the time, they're like closing one of their hands as they set, which adds that spin, right? So we don't want to twist our wrists. We don't want to close our hands. We don't want like claws. We want our hands to start and finish the same. nice, big and open, right? Whether we're setting the back set, the middle, or the front set, we want a big open hand finish, all right? So we wanna start big, finish big. We wanna finish with our hands flat and our fingertips up. So shape to start, flat coming out, all right? Our power comes from our elbows, right? Young setters, right, when they're first starting out, they're gonna have to bend their elbows a lot, right, to help them push, to overcompensate that. But as you get older, as you get stronger, guess what? You can have a much higher contact point and have your elbows much more straighter, right? As long as you have the strength to cover that distance with your hands, with your shoulders, and with your elbows, all right? Again, you can see it, especially in the pros, it just looks like they're just using the wrist. That's because they're a lot stronger. They've been working out, and they have the strength and capability to be able to just use very minimal movement to jack the ball pin to pin. So if you're not there, it's okay. Start with your elbows bent a little bit more, all right? So we want to start with those elbows bent, and we want to pick up our arms from our shoulders so we can get to this position, right? We really want to avoid what we call like Frankenstein arms, right? Where our arms are straight down here, and then we pick them up really straight like Frankenstein, right? This is gonna, make you contact the ball way too far, right? We wanna contact that ball under us. It's a big distance, so instead, we wanna start with our arms bent, and then from here, we keep them from our shoulders, and we go vertical to the ball until we reach it and grab it above our head, right? So let's not be Frankenstein arms, let's not grab it out here, contacting the ball way too far in front of us, elbows bent, picking up from the shoulder, and we're pressing vertical, right, to that distance that's right for you. Again, younger the setter, more bent your arms. The higher level you are, the more you straighten out your arms, and we're contacting that ball really nice and high, right? So again, shape, right, elbows tucked in, right? We're going up, 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 until we get to our contact point that's comfort for us, and then we extend to our target. Right? So throwing and setting are very similar, right? So wherever my extension is going, that's where the ball's gonna go. Like if I wanna throw the ball to you, ready? And I do this, the ball's gonna go that way. Same thing with setting, right? So if I'm trying to set over there to zone 4, but my extension in my hands goes that way, that's where the ball's gonna go. So as a setter, we gotta have a ton of control about where our extension is going. Right? So if I want my target to the outside, if I extend, right, to my target, that's where the ball is going to go. Sometimes we're not going to get squared, right? Sometimes the pass isn't great. Let's be real, right? But as long as, even on the move, as long as my extension is going to where I want that ball to go, the ball's still going to go there, right? Kind of, at least in that general direction. Are we going to have a lot more accuracy if we're squared? Absolutely. But we always can't get squared. Like I said, it's not always gonna happen, the pass isn't always gonna allow it, but as long as we're focused on the move, making sure our hands are finishing towards the target, guess where the ball's gonna go? It's gonna go in that general direction. So we gotta be really good about where we're extending to the ball. Now we're talking about trajectory. What kind of set are we setting? Are we setting it high or are we setting it fast? The way you extend is going to be the trajectory of the ball. Why is that so important, right? So if I want the ball to go up, my extension, right? The way I extend the ball is gonna match that. If I want a flatter trajectory, I need to flatten out my extension. The reality is that we're not always gonna be able to get squared. In an ideal world, absolutely, we wanna get squared. We wanna make sure we're just setting straight. So that's not always realistic. So if we're on the move and we're running, as long as our hands are finishing towards our target and we're not squared, it's gonna go in that general direction. And we need to understand that as a setter. We can't just flail our arms and hope. We gotta make sure our extension in our hands are finishing to our target, right? Super crucial, hands going to your target, because that's where the ball is gonna end up. So let's make sure, hey, if I'm not getting squared, I'm running, I'm pushing to the target, and that's for any set. Whether it's outside, the middle, the opposite, we gotta make sure our hands are going in that general direction. The more accurate we are with our hands, the more accurate we're gonna be with our set, right? So the way you extend is going to be the trajectory of the ball. Why is that so important, right? Because what kind of set are we trying to set? Are we trying to set it high, we try to set it low, we try to set it flat. So if my extension is straight up, right? See my hands? The ball is gonna match that, right? So if I want a higher set, I gotta make sure my extension is going to the ceiling, right? But if I want it flatter, I gotta do the opposite. I gotta flatten out my extension to make the ball flatter. So it's really key for tempo and the height of the set. And what trajectory are you trying to get? What kind of outcome as a setter are you trying to put together, right? So if you want a high ball, hands going up, high extension. If I want something fast and flat, right, I gotta make sure my extension matches the trajectory that I'm looking for. And that goes for back setting, and that goes for front setting, or even the middle setting, right? A lot of times I see when setters are learning how to set a one, their extension is a little too forward. So what happens? It makes the ball look like this, right? Instead of going straight up and down. So we gotta be really careful about, example, the one, making sure our extension and we turn our wrist, making sure those hands are facing more towards the ceiling so it goes up and down and we're not pushing the one across. So the way you extend is gonna be the trajectory of the ball. Again, super key. What kind of set are you trying to put together? Right? So that's hands, right? We wanna start and finish the same. We wanna contact that ball high and we wanna finish high to high. Right, so I need to contact that ball high above my head. I want to finish higher, right? If you ever feel like your set is dying or it's falling short, a lot of times what setters do, they go high to low. So when they set, they go here, and then they throw their arms down as they extend. That's gonna drag the ball down, right? Same thing if you finish with your hands, fingertips down, right? Even if you extend high, but you go fingers down after you set, where's that ball going? Ball going down. That's why it's really important. We extend high to high. High start, high finish with our fingers up. That's gonna allow that ball to carry big distances. As opposed to if we finish fingers down or we finish with our extension going down, the ball's gonna go down. So we gotta be really, really good about the way we finish, being disciplined with our hand. So we start high, we finish high, we finish with our fingertips up, right? Big open hand finish to our target. We want to frame the target, right? So if you want to imagine like your index finger and your thumbs, right? They make, I want you to imagine, bear with me, like they make like a picture frame. So this frame right here, we want to make sure we can see our target through our frame, right? So right here, my target's here. As long as I frame my target, where I can see the target, right? We want to imagine the hitter inside that frame. Right? That's how it's going to allow us to be more accurate. Again, whether it's front setting or going over our shoulder, for the back set, for the middle set, we want to frame our target. We want to get our hands around where that ball is going to go. All right, that's it. A to Z, right? What I'm currently teaching my setters in my one-on-one sessions and my setters on my team, it's really important. We go through entry footwork, right? We have specific footwork. I want my hitters to be really good about how they get to the net. Are they watching the passer? How do we want to get prepped in the pocket, right? Hey, the pocket's not in the middle of the court. It's all the way in zone 2. Because remember, we want a pass that allows our setter to move forward. Setters got to put themselves in a position where they can move forward to pass. We went over 2 different footwork patterns, right? We went over off 2, whether it's on the net, off the net. We went over a really great at-home exercise you can do at home to work on your rhythm and your footwork. We worked off pivot setting, right? So setting off one foot, our lead leg, our right foot, right? We want to pivot. Advantages of the pivot, you can rotate, use that rotation to help you push big distances, whether it's going to the outside or going over the shoulder. We talked about off the net, right? We want to get squared off the 2 foot and then tilt to back set. We don't want to just have our feet pointed to 5, back set. That's really easy for the other side to know, hey, this girl, guys, about to back set. We always want to work hard to get squared. All right, pivoting, half turn, full turn. You got to know how to do both. Use the rotation. We talked about our hands. Our hands start, finish the same. We put them here. What should they look like? How should we want to extend? What do we need to do? Fingertips up, big open hand, right? That all comes together to what a setter that works with me needs to know and are going to work on. So
If you like this video, if you found value in it, subscribe, like, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, The Volleyball Coach. We're gonna keep on putting up a ton of content just like this. Keep on playing volleyball.